Hey there, thanks for watching. My name is Christiana and my channel is Well Behaved Wallet, where my mission is to love the life I have while building a life of my dreams. Today I'm coming at you with a rundown of every single dollar I spent on groceries or eating out for the year of 2019. This was inspired by the amazing Kate Caden and her video on this exact same subject, and I will link to that video in the information box below. I saw Kate's video and I was so super interested in that, and I thought that it was such an important topic that I wanted to make my own video as well. So I have to say, at first, the idea of tallying up everything I spent on food and groceries was a little bit daunting because I know this category tends to be huge. It's the category next below housing. It is the category that I spend the most in. It is also the category that I know personally for myself is the most prone to careless spending. If I am not paying attention, it is really easy for me as a single person to rack up a $50 or $100 grocery bill. At like one time. Like if I'm not paying attention, that stuff just piles up. So I find that for myself, I have to be really hyper aware of what I'm spending if I want to keep a handle on this category. So why is this important? Number one, because I would like to one day, my goal is to be in a position where I can spend whatever I want and not have to worry. I want to be that financially secure that I can spend and not have a care. I am not there yet, but I believe the only way I will get there is by keeping track right now. While I'm working on getting my income up and improving my offensive game as far as money goes, the thing I can do, the thing that costs nothing, is being very aware of every single dollar I earn and where it's going, and especially in this category because it is so prone to careless spending. So that's the reason why I think this video is so important. And going into 2020 at the start of a new year, I feel like it's a new start, a new chance to kind of reevaluate what's working, what's not working, and how I can do better. So that is the reason for me making this. Without further ado, I'm going to get into what I've spent each month. So I have a printout here of what I spent, and I have my total too, so stay tuned to the end if you want to hear how much I spent in total. As a single person, at the beginning of the year I was buying for myself and my mom, because we live together at the moment, and toward the end when she went abroad it was just me, but I still had to keep up the house and whatnot. So just some notes as well. The reason I know all these details is because I just keep an Excel spreadsheet. I know Kate uses the Every Dollar Budget, and a lot of you, if you're in the budget community, are using that Every Dollar Budget app thing, and that's a great tool to use. For me, it doesn't have the function. I'm not able to put in notes for each transaction, and I just find that Excel is a lot simpler. So that's just what I do, and I keep for 1 year one spreadsheet. I use a Google Excel doc, a Google Sheets doc, and I just list it down. Sarah from Budget Girl does a similar thing, but I don't think she keeps track line by line every day. I do, because I like that level of detail and clarity. It's really helpful to me. So when I say, okay, I spent $56.50 on groceries, what did I get? And I see, okay, I got like tofu, I got beef jerky, I got arugula, I got cucumbers. Like it's helpful to me to be able to see what each transaction included. And I know there are certain ways you can do that in Every Dollar. I just don't want my data there. I prefer to have it in an Excel. So that's how I keep track, and that's how I'm able to total all these numbers out. And I will admit that sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. Actually, often it's really uncomfortable because it forces me to make those decisions. Do I go out and pick up this grocery item that I really want, or do I stay committed to my long-term financial goals? And that's like an uncomfortable decision to have to make when you're driving home from work at 5:30 and you're hungry and you're tired and you're maybe a little bit grouchy. It's a tough decision to make, but at the same time, having clarity in that decision is super helpful and really helps distill down and, for me, remind me where I'm heading. So if my goal is complete financial security, financial independence, then I want to make every single step I can, and I know that sticking with the budget, sticking with the plan will help me on that path, help me get further on that path, because I figure I'm either moving further away from financial independence or closer to it. So further away or closer, and I want to be moving closer with every decision I make, and keeping track allows me to do that. So getting into it, I will go through January to December just exactly the way that Kate did it. I love the way that she laid it out, and I will tell you what I spent each month in the categories of groceries and food out. So I start with groceries because that's by far the cheapest way to manage. I find for me to manage my food spending is to have food at home and to bring that with me and be prepared. Doesn't always work out. So I want to avoid, again, careless spending if at all possible. Sometimes you just want to treat yourself to Wendy's through the drive-thru, but I want that to be a conscious choice and not something I did because I forgot to pack lunch or dinner or something like that. Or something I do because I feel like it, which is really dangerous, something that I am prone to do often. So I'll start with that. And then food out, my goal is to have my only food out, or like 90% of the food out I eat, to be a fantastic experience with friends that I remember. So sometimes you want to go spend $300 at a really fancy restaurant in the city, and that's a wonderful expense that you can have a memory of, that you enjoy, and is totally worth it. I don't want it to be, again, careless, something that I'm not doing consciously. So that is what I want to avoid at all costs. So I will get into it. So for the month of January in 2019, I spent $158.44, which is below my normal set point of about $200. I use the USDA requirement of USDA guidelines of $50 per person per week, which for me is $200. So again, 158 is really good. And I attribute that to kind of a come down from the holidays. Over Christmas, I tend to purchase luxury food items, and I have those kind of in the house that I'm able to draw from. So usually in January, I'm just buying things like any produce that's fresh. And for food out, I only spent $98.44, which is super low because, again, in December, I tend to go out and spend time with friends. So I'm able to be indoors a little bit more. And again, this is planned because I did this for 2018 and I was kind of able to see that trend. So it let me enjoy December a little bit more freely because I wasn't terrified or feeling like I shouldn't be spending the money. I just account for it. I know December is going to be a little bit higher of a spend month, and that's okay. So those are my totals for January, $158.44 and $98.44 for food out. For February, because it is a shorter month, thank goodness, for groceries I only spent $153.41, and for food out I spent $46.13. For March, and I remember last year, March felt really, really long. Groceries, I spent $294.39. For food out, I spent $129. So for food out, I try to keep it in the $100 to $150 range. Sometimes I'm under $100. Sometimes I'm over. If there's special things going on, I'll be over 200, which I try to avoid. But again, if it's a fabulous experience and it's maybe there are a lot of birthdays that fall in that month, that's just how it goes. And I try to, again, allow for that. In March, I spent $294 for groceries and $129 for eating out. In April, I only spent $65 for groceries and $190 for eating out. And you see how it goes. $294 in March, $65 in April, and they kind of balanced each other out because I was aware of it and I knew that I kind of needed to correct a little bit in April. For May, I spent $255 in groceries, again, a little bit higher, and $151 eating out. In June, we went on a beach vacation with my sister who lives in Tennessee. So she drove up to Virginia Beach and we drove down and we met in the middle and we rented a house with her and her fiance and my mom and I. So it was the four of us sharing a beach house and it was amazing. It was probably the best vacation that I've had in a long time. And there was a little bit more spending. So for food out, I spent $266, and then for groceries, we spent $162. But again, it was within my range of what I like to spend. So I was able to enjoy that because I knew where my goals were, and I knew that I knew how to get there. For July, I spent $239 on groceries and $122 for eating out. In August, I spent $168 on groceries and $247 for eating out. And in September, this is a bit of a bigger month because there was the trip to FinCon, and there's some festivals that go on in my area that I like to take part in. So for groceries, I spent $301.01, and this is because I did the majority of my spending for FinCon with buying groceries, and that's how I dealt with my food and kind of tried to keep the food expenses under control. And for the most part, it worked. And then for eating out, I only spent $87. I think there were nights when I went out. I can remember one night that I went out to eat, and it was again within reason. So for October, that is my birthday month, and I think I treated myself a little bit, but not too extravagantly. Groceries were at $208.92, and eating out was at $182.08. And here's the thing too, October was the first month in a long time that I started using all cash for groceries. And I say it was painful, because it kind of was. Because that's the idea, right? The idea is when you spend cash, there's that pain of like having to give something over and not getting as much back. So it was painful, but it worked. It helped me stay within that $200 range, and it was useful. So ever since October, so for November, December, and for this month, January, I have been able to use all cash. And I'll tell you, that has stopped me from making impulse purchases at times because I didn't have the cash for it. So impulse purchases from the grocery store. So that's for sure. That was that was a plus. That was a good move, albeit a painful one. So that was my October setup. In November, I spent $168 for groceries and $171 in eating out. Again, the same thing with that, going out to eat around the holidays. And then for December, to round out the year, I spent $211 on groceries, and that's seasonal things that I love to get that I only do once a year. I made cookies with my sister, and I got like stuff like smoked salmon and caviar, and I treated myself to like this vegan cream cheese spread that I usually only eat once a year. And then for food out, this is a big one. I spent $413. And the reason why was because I caught up with some old friends at restaurants, and I was happy to spend every single penny of that money. So here are my yearly totals for both groceries and food out. And again, groceries include everything that you would buy at the grocery store. That would include things like Costco purchases, where I get my paper towels and toilet paper, cleaning supplies, household supplies, any runs to the Dollar Tree for household related things, I would include in that amount. So that would include, again, cleaning products. I'm trying to think if there's anything else recently that I bought. Like if I needed like a mask for cleaning, I would use that. I would get it. That would go into the grocery budget. So my total for groceries for the year of 2019 was $2,387.85. For food out, my total was $2,106.97. For a grand total of, you ready for it? $4,494.82. So that number may be bigger than what you're used to, maybe smaller than what you're used to. For me, it's a comfortable number. If I was in a situation where I needed to be a lot more austere, a lot more cost conscious, I could cut that down. I could probably take about 20% off of that with relative ease, and moderate reduction in sort of, say, in comfort, in the food out category, certainly. But for me, it's totally worth it in the time that I spend with friends, in the time that I spend connecting with my family. 100% worth it. So that's my number. I feel like, as far as having a handle on my spending and being aware of what I'm spending, I'm doing really well. Could I cut that down again if need be? Yes, I could. Do I see a need for that at present? No. There are areas that I would rather cut in, and for my income, and if I'm going on like percentages, I feel like this is a comfortable percentage. Again, if I needed to cut down, I could. I would rather focus on getting my income up than going crazy figuring out how to get cheaper apples or how to spend less on canned tuna. Well, that's certainly important. I would rather invest my time in increasing my offensive income game than cutting costs. So this is comfortable time-wise for me. This budget and this accounting is reasonable in what I consider to be, I would say reasonable, but a normal, and not say normal. I feel like I'm in a good place. So that is my number for everything I spent on groceries and eating out. If you have any questions, let me know. I would love to know how much you spent last year, if you have that number handy. So again, I'll point you to Kate's video because I think she just did such a great job, and it's such an important topic because I know that I'm not alone when I say that this category of food and eating out, groceries and eating out, is the most easily prone to careless spending. So I'd love to know how much you spent. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if this is an area that you struggle in, and how you're working on it. I'd love to know that as well. So thank you as always so much for watching, and I hope that you'll keep watching.